Now this is probably going to be one of the hardest decisions you need to make when you're training calisthenics or building a program for calisthenics. What do you do when it comes to legs? Now it's no secret, the bigger your legs are, the harder the calisthenics skills are going to be. If your goals are something like a full planche, then having bigger legs is obviously going to make it much, much harder. Saying that, we definitely don't want to go in the opposite direction and have weak, small legs. Now, I personally like to group legs into 3 different columns. So we have the A group, which are the foundations and definitely the movements that we want to maintain. And I would say the maintenance section is even more important if you're 40 plus. For those movements, I'll be looking at the heavy deadlift, and I'll be looking at building up and maintaining a double body weight deadlift. So I'm around 78 kilos, that's 170 on the bar, and I just check in with the deadlift every 4 to 6 weeks to check I can still pull that quite easily. But the high step up is a great functional movement we should all be able to do. But at minimum, we need to comfortably be able to get up when our knee is slightly higher than our hip crease. That's exactly the same as when we're in a lunge position on the floor and our knee is touching. I should be able to stand up easily with ideally one leg, so this back leg's not helping me, so the foot is very close to the box, push through the heel, straight up in the air, back down again. Exactly the same on the other side. And obviously you can keep increasing that, so now it's much higher. But another great one just to check in and see if you can do it comfortably. And then the third one I reckon everyone should build up to at a foundation level and then maintain is the squat. Now the cool thing about the squat is it's a great mobility exercise as well. If we add weight into it, it's a great strength exercise as well. I recommend holding in the bottom position for time and then pushing out, trying to keep the back flat as possible. Now notice I am cheating a little bit today. I've got my shoes on. I can use the excuse that it's pretty cold today, but having a bit of a heel lift does make all these movements easier. Now we could get into conversations about which type of deadlift you should be doing, which type of high step up, should that even be a lunge? With the squat, should it be a front squat, a back squat, an overhead squat? But I wouldn't complicate it if we're just looking at it from a maintenance point of view or a foundation point of view. I'd keep it as simple as possible. Make sure you can do it at a good level. If you can't, add it into your program. Once it's there, just maintain it. If you want to train it as a skill, I would go all the way as taking it to ollie lifting. But just be careful because ollie lifting can get as addictive as calisthenics, and then you're juggling 2 big balls. Okay, next let's look at B and C. Now I wouldn't recommend that you get into B and C until you can comfortably do A. I suppose a good way of explaining this would be to think about walking into a standard gym. You'd still want to be doing your squats and your deadlifts, but then once you've done your squats and your deadlifts, you might go into leg curls, leg extensions, all the smaller machines and things you might start to use and target specific areas. So you could look at this in the same way. Once you've got those basics down, we'd move into these type of movements. And you need to make a decision which movements are most applicable towards your goals. So if you take something like a pistol squat, it's a great exercise, but it's a standalone calisthenics movement which is quite isolated. I don't believe everyone should be working towards a pistol squat unless it's one of their goals. The split squat or the deep lunge is a fantastic exercise that not only strengthens your legs but also increases flexibility in the lunge pattern. So if you're working to something like front splits, it's really beneficial. The same goes for Cossack squats. That opens up the adductors, hips. So if you're going for straddle movements and middle splits, it's a great exercise. Nordic curls are seen as the best exercise to bulletproof the hamstrings and the calves, but most people should probably be starting with things like ring curls, hip bridging. They're missing the foundations to work on it. This will be interesting. Let's see if I can get away with a pistol squat. I haven't trained them for ages. Let's see if I can still do it. Again, I am cheating with my shoes on, so leg out in front. See if I can go all the way to the bottom and back up. Yes, I can get 1 rep. Let's see if I can get one on the right side, my tighter side, but arguably my stronger side. Yeah, so I still have my pistol squat. So as one of the goals that I work towards, I've also used split squats a lot, and I think they're a great exercise, especially if you go really deep, keep the torso upright, push hard through the heel. And then we can sort of go deeper down that specificity line. Some people would argue that the jumps should be in A. We should all be able to jump, and I agree with that. And if you're specifically working towards something like Olympic lifting, or if you're sport specific, something like basketball obviously is going to need a higher vertical jump. If you train athletics, if you train parkour, things like that. Obviously this element is going to need to be much higher, but again, it's specific to your goals. Straddle ups, good morning, sissy squats. Again, great mobility exercises that also condition and strengthen the legs. Now there is obviously lots of other exercises, but these are the main pool that I pull from when I'm coaching and training people. Now when it comes to program, obviously it's very individual in terms of where you are. If you're missing some of this, I'd recommend that you're doing it 1 to 2 a week and that you're working a 5 by 5. So 5 sets of 5 repetitions of 2 of these movements. So say it's deadlift and squat. So super simple, and that would leave enough time and energy still to work on all the calisthenic skills. If you have this, I would work on more maintenance 1 to 2 times per month, depending on how much maintenance you need. And if you're picking from the B and C group, I'd be doing this 1 to 2 times per week, around the 5 to 8 reps, 3 to 5 sets. But obviously that depends on your current level and your goals. As you can see, it's a really tricky subject to talk about in a video, especially when I'm talking to such a range of different people with different goals and abilities, when the main focus of this channel is calisthenics and handstands. I'm in the process of adding some new leg options to the programs in the app. If you're interested in that, links are down in the description. Let me know down in the comments what you're doing for legs. You can also see in the demonstrations where my strength is, and the movements that I've concentrated on and not concentrated on. Thumbs up and subscribe would be appreciated, and I'll speak to you in the next one.